Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just the DCU live action stuff as a whole, whichever way you want to put it. So with about, 2 weeks of 2023 left to go, depending on both when this video comes out firstly and then when you individually are watching it, we are about to enter a big year for the future of DC. Not necessarily in regards to us really watching stuff with our eyeballs, though there is a decent amount coming out in regards to movie, TV, and animation. But with the DCU side of things, it's mainly in regards to the production and development side of things when James Gunn's new DCU really takes control after the conclusion of the DCU this year with Aquaman 2 it comes out, I think, in like America and stuff in about a week. In Australia, it's about 2 weeks from now, that when, that releases. Now, of course, we know that Superman Legacy does start filming around early March next year, with it not coming out until the middle of the next year, that being 2025. But we know the cogs and gears and all of that will start moving more and more as we get deeper into 2024, and just when 2024 starts as a whole, as more projects either start filming or start getting written and have more and more people attached. And in this video, we're going to be going over the latest rumor mill, if you want to put it, for a bunch of different projects in this upcoming DCU. Most of them, I think, have to do with already announced projects, but there are some here with yet to be announced projects. So the projects themselves are rumored as well. So it's a bit of a pick and mix, if you want to put it. So we will go over all of them, but also give my thoughts when necessary when bringing them up. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. Which of these either new projects or just general things that's coming up get you most excited. And if you have any different opinions, let me know. I'm always curious to read what you guys are thinking. Of course, going to enjoy the video, drop a like. Takes 2 seconds. So the first few, 3 things here has to do with Superman Legacy, which some of it is mainly stuff that's sort of been brought up previously, but these are minor updates. Now, I forgot to mention, actually, these are all coming from the DCEU leaks Reddit page, but this was through an AMA they did on Twitter, so this is coming from their main people in reply to other people, if that makes sense. So the first thing with Superman Legacy is that Ma and Pa Kent, or Jonathan and Martha Kent, are in the casting process now, but there's no names that have popped up around them. Now, I'm interested in regards to this whole thing because it depends how big these two characters actually are within the film. They could be really minor roles, or they could be important, but then James Gunn said, oh, well, it's not really an origin, but these two characters can appear a lot, even if it's not an origin, because you can just have flashbacks or spend time with Clark or Kal-El or Superman, whichever way you want to put it, when he is 10 years old or something like that. So they could be very minor roles where they're only in a few scenes, or they could be important. But there's a lot of stuff happening in this movie, so I'd be very, very surprised if we spent too much time. So that, due to that, I don't know if they're going to cast that big of a person for these two roles, unless it's maybe Martha Kent, because I'd assume that she'll be alive. But then again, James Gunn could, put a flip on the script, if you want to put it, and both of them are alive. Jonathan Kent doesn't pass away, so he's alive when Clark's out and about being Superman. That could easily be the case. So maybe that does then lead to a bigger name being cast for both of them. The next thing is Guy Gardner, Metamorpho, and Mr. Terrific's roles will be larger than cameos. I'm assuming that Hawkgirl probably should have been in here as well. This has sort of been put out that that's going to be the case anyway, even when they were cast. And obviously this is probably going to lead into maybe them doing a Terrifics thing, at least with Mr. Morpho and Metamorpho and Mr. Terrific. And then with Guy Gardner, he's a Green Lantern. That extends into another part of the universe as well. So a cameo, to me, there's also this is I don't want to say a battle going on, but this is I guess difference in regards to how people will word a cameo. For me, a cameo is one scene. They're in one scene and that's it. So if they show up, have a conversation, then leave, that's a cameo. So a cameo, for example, would have been Wonder Woman in the Flash movie. That's a cameo. But Batman in that thing, to me, isn't, because Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck's Batman, has multiple scenes. He's not a cameo, but Wonder Woman is. Hopefully that makes sense. Or Arthur Curry in The Flash. I'm using The Flash as an example because it's a thing that popped into my head recently. Obviously, there's a bunch of other movies. Even Wong in Spider-Man No Way Home, I think he's only in one scene, so that's maybe an example as well. Those are cameos where they're just in one scene. Once they extend beyond that, to me, they're just a guest appearance, or they're just a small role. So yeah, I expect those characters mentioned before to be in at least 2 or 3 scenes, if not, a few more. And the last thing here with Superman Legacy is that concept artists have been working on the Superman suit for a while, but there is no information on how it looks like. And, there's still like 3 months until they start filming, so this suit could not be done until like a month before they start filming. But they probably have some test things done and everything like that, and I'm sure like David Corenswet, who plays Superman, has worn some of the older Superman suits, whether it is Henry Cavill's Man of Steel one or some other like test ones they've had to sort of see what it looks like and what would work best. So I'm not too worried about like the deadline in regards to that suit being made. The next stuff is about the Authority, which is probably the project I'm like least interested in when it comes to this new DCU. But that's because I really know nothing about them, and we know that some of the characters are showing up in Superman Legacy. So maybe that's where my interest will be piqued in regards to whether I actually have any care about this movie. But anyway, there's 2 things here. The last thing that's been heard about the film is that Matthew Vaughn is in talks to direct. Matthew Vaughn, of course, did like the Kick-Ass. Did he do both Kick-Ass movies or I think he did both of them. And of course he did Kingsman as well. Good director, and I guess he'd suit the Authority, especially when we look at the Kick-Ass stuff. And the thing that says here is that Jenny Sparks will be in the Authority and Manchester Black won't be. So I guess there was a rumor out there. I don't know if I'd seen that apparently Manchester Black was going to be in the movie. I don't know. But apparently he won't be in it. But Jenny Sparks will. Jenny Sparks is a member of the Authority. I guess this is like, maybe I wonder if there was a rumor that's like the Authority versus the Elite, because then that'd make sense why Manchester Black apparently would have been in it. But anyway, apparently that was a rumor or something that it had to be shot down or something. I don't know. The next stuff has to do with the Batman movie, or simply The Brave and the Bold. I thought it was called The Batman or Batman Brave and the Bold. Or maybe it's just called The Brave and the Bold. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But anyway, the first thing here is that it reiterates that John Logan is in talks to write The Brave and the Bold. Obviously, Andy Muschietti is going to be directing it. So I don't know if he's known as much of a writer, Andy Muschietti, but known as a director. And as of right now, they don't have a script for the film. And this was obviously reiterated by James Gunn recently. So that lines up there because, of course, he said, hey, we're not going to cast anyone until we have a script. So he shot down some of those rumored castings of like Jensen Ackles and some other people there as well. The next thing here is with lanterns, and this first one was something that was actually mentioned not too long ago, I think, and that's that Guy Gardner will be in lanterns. I think the rumor that was out there like a handful of weeks ago is that he's going to be in like 3 episodes or something like that. Once again, I'm fine with Guy Gardner being in lanterns. I have voiced my issues with Nathan Fillion being cast, but by the time Lanterns is going to come out, Superman Legacy would already have come out, so that's where you'll get to see Guy Gardner for the first time, and that will sell you whether it's a good interpretation. But then again, Guy Gardner's not going to be leading the Lantern show. That's, of course, going to be Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. And there is a thing here with Hal Jordan where it says that Hal Jordan will be in his late 30s, early 40s, or late 30s to mid 40s or something like that, but he hasn't been cast yet. Once again, not a surprise. They have like nothing written for this show either, so I'd be surprised if they'd cast someone as of yet. Now, we know that Hal Jordan's going to be the more experienced one, and Jon Stewart's going to be not like super young, but just be younger. So I guess if like Hal Jordan's late 30s to mid 40s, John might be like late 20s to early 30s, like had a decent military career potentially, and then this stuff happens. So that lines up. Obviously, the rumor mill in regards to who they cast is how will be out there for, fairly soon, probably once they start adding people, like publicly have writers and everything attached to this show. But it depends like what Hal's meant to be. Is he going to be a bit more comedic, and then Jon Stewart's the more serious one? Is a bit of a flip on like Men in Black. We have like the younger agent that's more, jokey aroundy. And then, but it's a flip where the younger one's the more serious one, with the military and everything like that. So that'll be interesting to see what they do there. The next thing is the Batman, and the simple thing here is that they haven't heard anything on the Batman. Now, there was something that James Gunn said actually, I think earlier today, or was it yesterday or something? I can't remember, that he said that he'd like read something on the Batman, like the script or something for the Batman 2. But like obviously he wasn't going to spoil anything, so that was just something that he'd mentioned on social media somewhere. I don't know if it was Instagram or that goddamn Threads thing. It was somewhere like that. And the final bunch here is just like a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. So it's stuff that like, relates to things, but it's not like all the other ones where they have 2 or 3 things attached. So the first thing here is that Hawkgirl in the DCU will be Kendra Saunders. Now, I think this might have already been said. I don't know if James Gunn had said this, or it was based off maybe some concept art that was out there and it looked more like the Kendra Saunders version. I can't remember. It was something like that. But anyway, apparently that's a fact now. Peacemaker Season 2 starts filming late next year and will possibly release late 2025 to early 2026. Now, of course, the thing we knew about Peacemaker Season 2 was that James Gunn was like, yeah, I'm not going to be touching that, at least in regards to filming anything, until I'm done with Superman Legacy. And I think that's across the board. So, like, picture lock for the most part, or like where there wouldn't be any like worries about needing to do reshoots. So mainly it's coming down to like score and stuff that you're waiting for, or maybe some like minor editing where he can go and do something else like Peacemaker, because he still says he wants to direct all the episodes of Peacemaker Season 2 and he's going to write them all. I think he's written them all, or he's like close to finishing them now. So I don't know if he's going to direct all of them, and that might be a bit too much on his plate. But he might like direct like the first handful of episodes, maybe like a late handful, and then there's that middle portion of the season where someone else does it and he just sort of gets dailies and stuff like that. But yeah, we know Peacemaker Season 2 is happening. I think John Cena was talking about it fairly recently, so it's just that it's going to be a big wait in between seasons. Like, when did the first beginning of last year, which was 2022, so potentially a 4-year gap between seasons, which is crazy. Like, that's insanely long. The next thing is there is nothing new on Harley Quinn. Now this is talking about, like, I assume Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, which I think she's like, I'd like to think, because it just seems logical, that she'd be like a definite person that's going to be continuing on from the former universe into this one. Not because like it was one of the more well-received characters, but also because it's Margot Robbie. Like, it'd be almost silly to let that go. And like, even no matter who you cast, everyone's just going to go, why isn't it Margot Robbie? So if Margot Robbie doesn't want to do it, then fair enough if you move on. But if she's fine to do it, and she hasn't said anything that she doesn't want to, so I'd assume that she's going to be staying on, but there might just be a bit of a gap in regards to when we see her next. The next thing is that Blue Beetle's origin and plot elements will remain, but likely not everything from the film, and I'd assume that's like the connective tissue to any like things that, even though it sort of stands on its own for the most part, just like any minor things that connect to anything else. So that's sort of already been put out there, so it's not too much of a surprise that's mentioned here. It's just almost like reiterating stuff that we already knew. The next thing is that the DCU's movies and shows won't be released in the same order as when they were announced by James Gunn. So they're referring to that like video, whatever it's called, like Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. And I can't remember what the order for that was. Like, did he start with Superman Legacy? Because I feel like he started with Creature Commandos, then Waller, then Superman Legacy, and then whatever it was afterwards. So that is probably how it's going to release anyway, unless Waller faces some issues. Because we know Creature Commandos is coming out next year. Then Superman Legacy is in the middle of 2025, so Waller could slot in there. But because of the writers and actors strike, there was a delay there. So it probably just depends on how that development and production goes, whether it actually can slot in between. If not, it might go afterwards. But I'd assume that, it's, that I'd assume like most people thought that it wasn't going to be exactly like that, because you never know what issues you're going to face. So for the most part, for those first handful, it's going to go in order, but after that, it's probably going to be mixed and match. And there's probably some projects that haven't been announced that might even go before some of those ones that were announced already. Like, there could be something that's sitting there that might come out before Swamp Thing, because Swamp Thing might face some writing issues or something like that easily. So that, yeah, I don't think anyone was really locked in that order that James Gunn announced them in as like how the movies are coming out. The next thing is that there is nothing certain about the Teen Titans. Now, the Teen Titans, to me, is something that I think James Gunn should 100% focus in on, at least in regards to making sure that it's something that they do. Not only in regards to a Teen Titans movie or show, probably a movie though, but maybe a show, depending on what you want to do. But it's also about developing those characters within there in those other projects. So Robin within The Brave and the Bold, Wally West potentially in like a Flash project, and all the other different things in between as well. So I think that's an important thing there, but it's also something that you probably wouldn't want to rush either, because they're not the main mantle holders, they're the sidekicks essentially. So, or like at least some of them are sidekicks, and then some of them are like just on their own, just their own characters that blend into the Teen Titans. So yeah, I'm not surprised that like there's nothing there at the moment in regards to it, because nothing's really been hinted at it, but it's something that's going to be happening. And the last thing is something that we've mentioned a couple of times when mainly just talking about like what's going on with the Flash mantle or property going forward, and that's, other than a Rogues project, there is no information known on the Flash, and that's not too surprising in regards to not much being known on the Flash as a character itself. We just had the movie come out earlier this year. A 9-season TV show just ended earlier this year. They're probably going to put the character on a bit of a break, at least in regards to there being something called The Flash, whatever, The Flash Rebirth, or whatever it might be called. There'll be a break there for at least a handful of years, but that Rogues project, I think, is a good idea in regards to keeping Central City alive, if you want to put it, or relevant. And also just sounds like a cool idea as well. And also you can have the Flash in there, but yeah. So not surprised that there's really not much being at least openly spoken about in regards to the next Flash thing that's going to be happening. There's a bunch of other stuff they have to get across the line first. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts and everything we went over in this video. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.